What's that, man? Check this out, y'all. I have received some clarity and a special download upon this energy, and I wish to share it with y'all. Nevertheless, not wish, but I commence to share this with y'all. Check it out. This energy spectrum, right? It's a powerful tool, and it's a powerful guide, and we know it's from a higher design that anyone with intelligence should follow. All right, no problem. We should agree. All right. Now, in the Matrix, right, people were seeing the numbers, people were seeing other things also, and people were just seeing the surface of things, what it appeared to be, Okay. These are all avenues, or it is what it ain't to someone else, but it is what it is to them, which it will be, whatever it may be. Nevertheless, it's always levels or steps, right, or stages to certain things, and a lot of times we are unaware if we should be at the top of the steps or the bottom of the step, or up on the top of something or at the bottom of something. But you have to understand, to be somewhere is becoming a particle and not the wave itself. So you must travel like this, without interference. The wave, the shorter, the more powerful. Gamma or dark plasma moving into vision, as we can see. Nevertheless, listen about this energy, right? All right. If we're seeing energy, everything switches. Now, you have to develop a certain experience to actually in a position of clearing the obstacles in front of you before you can even attempt this. All right. So it may seem foolish to some. Nevertheless, let's move on. So this energy, right? Programs are the same thing. They are directing the energy. Now, when you practice chi, you are learning how to focus and direct your energy with your chi, or danti in, or the center of the organism, in balance, all right? In balance. So you learn how to direct the chi, to direct it, with actually computer precision, actually. Because you understand your own body, you know what squares is. This is those tools that the builders use. You know what I'm saying? But we got it mathematically here. We don't need it nowhere else. We don't need it nowhere else. We transfer it other places, never to another body. All right, listen. So nevertheless, this energy. So these programs that we're seeing, receiving, right? These programs, that it's going in, but you have to communicate to tell it where you want this energy to be sent. This is how, if you base it all in the energy format, it will comply, because now your intelligence is telling your mental is now governed by those programs that you decide how to disperse the energy throughout your schematic. All right, give you an example. Now this is, like I said, you're going to need a more experience in the growth pattern in which you have grown so thus far. All right, but nevertheless, I'm gonna give you an example. Let me give you a weak example instead of a strong one, because I don't want to let you think, your orbit that you're jumping has just succeeded everyone's. It may not work that way. Then again, it might. Nevertheless, let me give you a weak example. Remember, you're working with energy. The energy must be told in a diagram where to go. If you want these photons that's coming in through the projected of software and these programs, right? These televisions and the vision that you see before you, if you wanted to go somewhere, we can easily do that. Oh, that's just bullshit. You just told the program or the energy where to disperse this energy and how to set it up or block it. All right. So now with this in mind, this is what you're doing all the time. But we allow energy to flow through our body. You'll see some shit, and you don't really know. You just be like, huh, that's crazy. So it's in there. Like ragu, all the shit you do not stop, put a halt on, say I don't agree with those terms and conditions, you don't put nothing down in the computer, guess what? Like ragu, once again, it'll be in there. You have to do this. It's a practice. It's a practice of formulating and storing information, energy. You don't need to, you are the computer. Think about it once again, you are the computer. So the computer needs to be told, and I know this sounds crazy, but what is affirmations? What about, let's just say you got some, whatever you got in the cup. The energy of it must be told. They was telling us about the so-called saying something, or summoning, or transferring energy to something before you consume or eat it. But a program can be overwritten, and it can already be here and hasn't been accepted, but it hasn't been told that I need not do none of that. But as steps and levels progress, because this was saying like the arm, leg, arm, Allah creates in stages. So it would start off at a stage where the initiate, the novelist, or the learning one, right, through small levels, would transfer energy to it. But it wouldn't be in the manner they directed us. That was in total opposition of our fruition, right? Nevertheless, you know what I'm saying, you transmit energy to whatever it is, right? Through these energy centers, changing the particles. Speaking about water, water is what? It is programmable. So what the only thing you're doing is programming the nucleus is inside of it, you know. So therefore, the energy is accepted. You have accepted, the computer has accepted, it shall be done. Nevertheless, this is the way this energy is up here, if you're on an energetic level. And being on energetic level, all right, not only in this dimension, because it has just taken you away from this dimension, but look at all the things that would have to be considered and dealt with. See, this is why I'm not a teacher. I am just one who understands through application of what undergirds an application. And a lot of people speak about dimensions, and it is. But what makes a dimension different from another dimension? It has to be higher. Does it have to be lower? Or it can be lower, because those are dimensions also. Nevertheless, energy needs to be told where it needs to go. It needs to be told. You know, that's why they tell us you're going to get cancer from eating red meat. They just told the information where to go in your head, in your body, in your mainframe. Everything you download, that's why you shouldn't watch and see and accept without, oh no, that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? We say it sometimes, but that's a little block. You know, you may have blocked that. But what about all the shit that has went past you 30 frames per second, giving you all this type of stuff about, you know, I set up, matter of fact, I'm going to give you an example. I set up and listened to these people, which is dear to me, but I was listening to their conversation, and they were speaking about some older people, like about 50 or something, or 60, and he has this and this and this, and it was just, you know, it's like so sorrowful, speaking about these ones. And I said, you know, you know, And I'm just looking. And these ones really was wallowing in the bewilderment of stuff that I knew at the root how to stop it. And I didn't want to tell them because I used to talk to them in manners where it was never accepted or it was always rejected, which it should have been done, right? And nevertheless, so I spoke not. I just was like, But this was interesting because as I continued not to respond as I usually would, I learned to lie. And they proceeded to speak about, things about, I mean, I really don't want to put it categorize like, but it was just so much unbelief at the root of the problem. You know, talking about the pills and the high blood pressure, and, he eats good, he, 300 almost, real big guy. I'm like, check this out. Back to this energy, right? If you look at a solar cell, the solar cell is thin. When you look at a battery pack, it has low voltage cells in it to make bigger cells. That's what lithium ion batteries are about. The smaller the cell. When they was making carbon, right? Carbon nanotubes, the thinner the cell is the faster the transfer. Look, in energy, the thinner the cell, the faster the transfer. It's gamma. It's smaller. It's the smallest shit. It's vibrating at a frequency that just... Now, if you make the cells, let's just say, the 1.3, right? They got them at 3.7 to make a battery pack. They got 3.7 volts to make a battery pack. But you can get a 1.3. It's called an AA battery or a AAA battery, all right? This is 1.3 or 1.5, all right? Check this out. But they make the battery packs for electric bikes or solar panels and shit. They started at 3.7, all right? Check this out. It's a little variation in there, but nevertheless. So the thinner the cell, the faster the transfer. Do you see where they just place certain things at? Because why? Because they're manufacturing your shit. Right? Okay. So nevertheless, the thinner the cell, the faster the transfer. The larger the cell, the slower the transfer. Check it out. Look at the body, electric. The thinner the cell, the faster the transfer. The faster the transfer. The bigger the cell, and I ain't talking about, you can see this in big people, all right? You can see this in big people, and they didn't get that big eating vegetation. The cow did, and you ate the cow. Listen, the thinner the cell, the faster the transfer. You don't have to agree with me, but you know you should agree with that, because that is the legitimate way. Hold on. You need...
Yeah.
I'm making a question. Just hold on. I did not hear her. Just immediately. Listen. Okay. Okay. So, the thinner the cell, the faster the transfer. You got it? I'll get back with y'all.